Hello Libra friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my video, Libra September 2020 Must Knows. As usual, there is so much to talk about this month, so let's just take it piece by piece. The first thing to know is that we are finally ending this water festival, this high, heavy emotion that has been the trend of June, July, started to wear off a little bit in August, but still continues a little till these first days in September. That is going to shift. So I'm hoping that September will be much more grounded and you'll have air energy coming through and fire energy coming through that's going to be really supportive to your placements. And that first couple of days of the month is like the grand finale of the water festival with this full moon in Pisces. So those of you who are like September born or the first couple of days in October, you're more likely to see this coming to fruition, this fullness, this, completion, possibly drama, come to your house of health, pets, and office dynamics. Okay, if you're self-employed, this can also come up here. Whereas those of you who are more like October born Libras, you all are going to see this energy show up more, fullness, completion, drama, fruition, in your house of children, creative efforts, hobbies, games, fun, and romance. Now, in general, full moons can bring high emotion, and sometimes that involves a lot of tears. And this is a water element. Okay, it's in Pisces. So it is probably going to be, like I said, a grand finale to this water showing and could be kind of intense. But there's only one aspect associated with this time that is challenging. The rest of the aspects that are flanking this new moon are super positive, and we're going to talk a lot about those aspects because they are going to be very profound this month. 6 earth trines, and you've got that energy stirring right here with this new moon. So the chances for these fruitions to be associated with happy tears are increased because of those nice aspects. So I hope that that works out for you. So the next thing to know is about these. This is a must know for Libra. There are 6 earth trines this month. As the planets, the sun and Mercury, move through Virgo, they're making these beautiful, most harmonious aspects in all of astrology called a trine, a 120-degree angle, to those outer planets in Capricorn, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, that have been doing all of this mischief making, that are at one of the sources of the coronavirus experience and all of the changes that we've been experiencing. So what you might see in this month is that challenges that came from those clashes prior in the year might start to bear some fruit, or work that you did might start to bear some fruit, or things that were difficult from those aspects might start to have a sweet tilt. September is a very interesting month in the way that it's like a little bubble that's sitting precariously between the eclipse hotspots of the year, which we've just kind of come out of, in September, and we don't kind of start getting back into until later in October and then the latter part of the year. But this is like, a little bubble that isn't very eclipse focused. So that's good, I think, because the dramas, as you've noticed, even in the time that I'm recording this, have been pretty intense. And it's also this little bubble in the way that Jupiter and Saturn are going direct this month. This is major must-know information, and we'll get more into that, especially about Jupiter. But when Jupiter and Saturn get back to the points in the sky that they made mathematical connections with each other, that was this mischief making throughout the year, this is like the final conclusion chapter, that's going to happen in October, November, December. So they're going to be notable. And so this is like a little bubble when Saturn and Jupiter are waking up, but they haven't yet come back into these conflictive aspects. So it's like a little, calm before a storm, if you will. Not to say that there couldn't be some stormy things that can occur this month. It's just like dancing in the precipice between these points. So that's very important to note. You may see very notable things, and this is all early, middle, and late degree placements, with these wonderful aspects gelling something for you with your home or family relations or roommates or rentals or real estate or something like this related here. Or this could have something to do with finding your family of origin or ancestry or genetic testing that could be helpful with something that you're working on currently, or finding old relatives, or things like that, because the fourth house is very much highlighted. And even for those of you later in the sign, this still carries this potential energy in that fourth house of the homes and houses and all of that. So you've got 6 kisses basically, where things that were hidden may come to light, things that you've been working on in the backdrop may come into the forefront in a very grounded and material way. Okay, so there's a lot of energy around Earth at this time, both from a short-term perspective this month in September, and also in a long-term perspective, because we've had 4 of the 5 outer planets moving through Earth signs. Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn have all been in Capricorn. Saturn and Jupiter are going to be making their way out after this year, but we still are like at the end of a very long dominating time of Earth in the outer planets. And this, and Neptune is the only outer planet that is not in an Earth sign. So, and Uranus has been in Taurus, and that will be there for a long time. So that, coupled with the things that are happening this month, really are showing this ongoing quest for more security, for more, things being established, and figuring out what things have solid ground for you and what things don't have solid ground, and shoring those things up. And so you might have some major headway this month in that. Okay, something else very notable has to do with Mars going retrograde. I've been talking about this since July because the pre-retrograde shadow started at the end of July, and these weeks before an actual retrograde are like energies that are building up to the retrograde and tend to kind of behave as if it were in retrograde in a deepening way as time goes on. So we watched August kind of get more full of the energy of Mars retrograde. And Mars rules your oomph. It rules your get up and go. It rules your ambitions, your goal setting. It rules the flow and momentum. And we haven't had a year with a lot of momentum, because we've had all of these retrogrades, and because we've had these aspects in Capricorn that are stern, taskmaster types of energies that are, criticizing and trying to look at everything that's wrong, and systems breaking down, and all of this kind of thing. So at the end of July and into August, we've had like this little spurt of momentum in getting some things done. But now that we're here, as of September 9th through November 14th, Mars, the ruler of, assertive energy, is going retrograde. Mars is also the ruler of war. Okay, so there is this brewing energy, and we've been talking about this for Libra because of planets that are moving through Aries that have been opposing your sign. This is still continuing, and Mars is going to be retrograde in Aries, which is opposing your sign. So if you have been having battles with other people or issues with other people, there's a very big chance for things to come to a head at this point, but it is definitely not recommended that you have to follow your intuition and follow your flow, and there are going to be exceptions to this general rule. But in general, we don't want to take action against somebody or force anything at this time, because it tends to boomerang back. This is a very important keynote of Mars retrograde. And if you want to learn more keynotes of Mars retrograde, if you just search for Annie Botticelli Mars retrograde, you'll see my blog and my video on the topic. And also, if you click underneath this video on the More button, it will reveal all of these links for other free resources I have. So you can see that there. But Mars retrograde can be a time when your ambitions wane, but if you're not trying to force them, this can be super relaxing, super restorative. It can be comfortably productive, and you can actually coast, like taking a big wave in back to the shore, as long as you fine-tune your efforts to the things that are flowing and you take your energy off of the things where you're hitting roadblocks. Okay, so this time is really great for vacations, if, COVID willing. And staycations and playcations as alternatives can also work. Anything that helps you to just kind of take your foot off the gas, relax a little bit, have some travel-themed evenings, have some tropical parties or something like that, even if they're just among your household where you're, keeping your safe social distancing. Just to, unplug from devices and get the feeling of relaxation and vacation, even if you can't actually do it. anything involving taking on projects has to be carefully weighed at this time. If you're taking on a project that has like flexible, casual associations, then that's totally fine. So like if you want to study something, you want to take some courses for fun, you want to, play around with some things, as long as it's flexible and it's like the way that you flow, and there's not heavy deadlines and really stressful things that need momentum and need continued focus, then they're totally fine. If it's something that is going to require complete concentration for you to be completely on your game and not take your eye off the ball, that might be a little harder to pull through, because Mars retrograde does tend to make people lazy. And if you feel that, you want to honor it. And if you have this flow of being comfortably productive, you can also do that, but again, only if it's working. So just casual and flexible commitments are better at this time. Okay, so Jupiter is going direct, and this is very exciting because Jupiter rules expansion and optimism, and even though it's been causing some ruckuses as it's moving through this very different than its normal energy sign of Capricorn and clashing with these other outer planets, Jupiter on its own, being retrograde, very much can tame enthusiasm, curb feelings of joy. It can, bring more depression and more negativity and less hope. But once Jupiter turns direct in September, you may start to feel more optimistic. You may start to feel more hopeful. Silver linings might appear around the clouds that had been coming. And things that were stalled out in May, when it went retrograde, might start to develop again. So any of the areas that had been just kind of stopped in that time, you might notice that they start to move forward again. And this final chapter of the Jupiter-Pluto-Saturn clashes in October, November, December could bring a storm for some people, but it could also bring a solution. So things where the problems had come in, the answers and the solutions can now come in as these final chapters occur. Now, specifically for Libra, again, this home and family area is part of what really may have stalled out from Jupiter being in retrograde. So you might notice, like if you're trying to sell a house, that might pick up. And if you are trying to sell a house, even if you're not Christian, look up the St. Joseph real estate kit. St. Joseph is the patron saint of real estate, and if you just look it up, you'll see what I mean. I had a real estate business for 10 years where I bought and sold and refurbished houses, and I was a landlord. And whenever I went to sell a house, I enlisted St. Joseph's help, and I never had a house on the market for very long. So, and I've recommended it to people who have said that it has helped them. So I don't know, you can take it for what it's worth and try it. But if you're trying to sell a house, Jupiter going direct now in this area might start to help that along. And if you're trying to buy a home or get financing for a home or do anything home related, like a project, a design project, things like that, you might have more energy towards moving forward now. Mars retrograde might make workers more lazy and harder to show up, but the general story of what you're working on home related in many ways may start to have life breathed back into it. Okay, so we do have double the challenging aspects this month compared to the sweet ones. That was a trend that started in August that happened that month as well. But we don't have some of the harsher aspects that we had in August, where I kind of gave you those warnings. And if you haven't watched the August report, it will follow this report. But it is the same in the way that there are going to be these bumps and obstacles and annoyances that could trigger anger and resentment, which Mars retrograde is also a part of, because anything that has to do with aggression or anger or your liver or your clearing out of toxins in your body or you're clearing out of toxins in your life is going to be very much accentuated. And this is kind of a lifelong thing for Libras, with being always 180 degrees away from Aries, which is the self. You're always in this constant, the stars are always constantly giving you an invitation to detoxify your relationships, to step away from negativity, to step away from people pleasing, and to kind of balance out your relationship focus with your individual focus and find a nice happy medium there. So it might be time to shift some toxic relationships is the point. And if your environment is toxic, it might be a time to do something about it there. It's very important to note that as much as we know astrology is very, very, very accurate in the way that the stars do very clearly affect us. And the deeper you go into this, you can see that that is true. But they're also very far away. So you can imagine that the factors that are in your immediate environment may affect you even more than the stars. And so this is a time, I'm calling this month the big cleanup of like detoxifying your environment. Maybe you want to start to get chemicals out of your house. Maybe you want to start to get, you know, skincare products that have chemicals. You know, whenever you put anything on your skin, you're essentially eating it, except without the benefit of the normal digestive process to break things down, because things you put on your skin actually go directly into your bloodstream and then through your liver, and you go through this detoxification of whatever is on there. So like detoxifying your physical body, your environment, your products, your food, your diet, your relationships, your work, your workspace, you know, feng shui, the flow of your house, how you feel about where you are and the things that are around you most immediately. This is a very good time to start to address or go deeper into addressing those types of things. One nice idea is to try to get some of the plastic. I mean, obviously plastic is ubiquitous, but getting some of the plastic out of your immediate food and intake field, you know, like swapping out plastic storage containers and drinking bottles for glass ones or stainless steel or something like that might be part of this process too. Okay, so we do have these beautiful 6 trines that may bring amazing manifestation in the material, tangible realm for you, and those are scattered throughout the whole month. We also have 6 of these awkward inconjunct, or also known as quincunx angles. This is something that's similar to August. We had those, a bunch of those then, and those were the kind of energies I was talking about with the baby giraffe. When the baby giraffe is born and they have to run very soon because if a predator comes, you know, they have to get with the herd, and that just kind of like awkwardness of trying to find your footing in the new normal. That trend is going to continue from August into September as well. So you might notice that coming up. And these same angles can tend to bring up doubt. Okay, so if you see doubt coming up, maybe you can choose. What I'm doing is I'm choosing to reframe the doubt that comes up as a gift from the universe by showing me the things that I have to shore up, and stories that I might be telling myself that might not be real. I'm recommending the work, it's actually the work called The Work by Byron Katie. The Work is her process. It's an inner process for evaluating belief systems that aren't working for us and clearing out old blocks. So she poses the question, when you have a conflict, is it even true? A lot of times the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves and other people might not even be true. You know, maybe you're telling yourself a story like you cannot assert yourself within a relationship because of blah, blah, blah. And then you can ask yourself, is that even true? You know, you might be telling the story, I can't find balance in my relationships and take care of myself while I also show up for everyone else. And again, is that even true? You know, so this type of process, and you can find her work to go deeper into this. But it can be very productive in the inner realm, which can reflect out to the outer realms. This energy of the kind of confusing, awkward angle can also manifest in the form of a person. Sometimes people will embody the energies of a planetary archetype or an aspect's energetic. And so a person who's kind of chaotic and you feel awkward around, or who's, you know, doesn't really have their stuff together, they might come into your field, either from the past or a new person. And your judgments about that person or your experience of that person can turn out to be a transformational experience for you. It could be that you have to clear your energy of drama more, or it could be that you have some aspects of your energy field that need to be cleaned up, again, along the lines of this big cleanup that is offered this month on every level. So, let's see. Also wanted to talk about as Venus moves into Leo. This is a wonderful thing for Libra because the fire signs make beautiful aspects for your Libra placement. when things are in Aries, sometimes that can be a little overstimulating because it's opposing you, even though the element matches, fire and air go together very well. But when planets are in Aries, they kind of oppose that and they put more pressure. But when you have planets in the other fire signs, like Venus going through Leo, this just gives you kisses, okay? So look for special kisses and special opportunities within your friendships and your social circles. If somebody offers you to meet somebody, whether it's for dating or a business purpose or just anything, a friendship, consider saying yes to an introduction, because networking and connecting from other people, whether it's in an online group or in person, can have a lot of kisses for you this month. You might have some money-making information that comes in. You might have something having to do with your relationships. You could meet a person of consequence, or you could re-meet a person of consequence. And this also can have to do with internet-based projects or humanitarian efforts that you may have in mind. While this month is not necessarily fantastic for like a brand new launch that needs a super amount of momentum, with Mars being in retrograde, it's still a good time to be evaluating and playing with options that come to you. And as Jupiter starts waking up, it can also be a good time to start trying some things on or putting some small things in motion over the bigger course of your, bigger dream. Okay, so Venus is also going to be highlighting your work sector, which could mean like raises, recognition, acknowledgement in your work, or new employment. So if you are in the market for anything like that, or new business if you're self-employed, then you're going to get a special boost at this time as well. So definitely check out my resources about Mars retrograde. You can click in the notes under here. It says more with a little arrow underneath this video, and it will reveal all of these links to free resources that I have. Or you can search for Annie Botticelli Mars retrograde. I highly recommend that you sign up for my free email newsletter, because I do a very detailed write-up each month. And this September write-up is super, it's actually like way longer than it usually is, because there's so many subtle facets of this month that are critical to understand, and a lot of aspects. So I highlight every aspect, the date of the aspect, what the aspect is, and what you can expect from the aspect, and also the overview of the month and the factors that are relevant. And you get that for free when you sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. You also get free access to my virtual coaching program called Shine when you sign up for my free email newsletter. If you want written horoscopes by me that are super simple, much more streamlined and less detailed, but very helpful and focused, written horoscopes by me 1 month early, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. And again, all these links are in the notes underneath the video. You can check out my free courses at my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, through lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com. I have one called Unleash Your Money Magnet. This used to be a paid course. I have it for free now, so you can see that at lumelife.com if finances are something you're trying to focus on. And if you want to be a professional astrologer, you can see my paid courses at lumelife.com. I have a course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course that will give you everything you need to know to do astrology professionally, or to just help yourself and your friends as part of your self-development process. And Mars retrograde is a fantastic time for courses of study, and my course is super flexible, so it's open to sign up during all of the Mars retrograde times. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye!